Devil's Knot. How do I even begin to talk about Devil's Knot? If there's someone familiar with the story, I guess you know what it is. West Memphis 3. I was familiar with the story from a few years ago. I guess, when were they released? 2010. That's when I found out about it, and I was really interested in the story when they released the West Memphis 3 from prison, just because I saw the name and I thought, oh, this is interesting, and I looked up into it, and I watched a bunch of documentaries and a bunch of interviews, and I read a bunch of articles, so I was really familiar with the story. All the details are sort of lost to me now, the details of the actual investigation and trial. But I knew the general story as I went into Devil's Knot. First time I watched the trailer, I got mad. I got completely, I don't know why, I lost my shit, because I thought they're just making a movie so they could bank on the success, not the success, on the, I guess, notoriety of the West Memphis 3. I was going to say success. And I was not okay with that. It just looked like such a pointless movie that they just wanted to make money, which is awful to me. This is such a sad story, and I didn't want to see another movie just banking on it. And I was wrong. It wasn't like that at all, I don't think. I just ended up watching it with my mom. She wanted to watch a movie, and I said, let's watch this. She is not familiar with the story, so in the movie I found myself constantly explaining things to her. So I don't think it did a good job at actually filling you in to the story. It's very easy to just lose track of what's actually happening. Everything's really fast, and they just skim the surface. This is a big investigation with 3 victims and 3 suspects. So there's a lot of evidence to go over. There's a lot of things to consider: family life, the town where they grew up, the friends, all the witnesses, all the other suspects. There's a lot of things to consider, and this movie, I understand, it's only, I think it was it felt long, by the way. It felt really long. It felt like 3 hours, but I'm sure it wasn't that long. So in the movie, you don't have time to go over all this. So I understand why they skimmed only the surface, but it was very strange. I didn't like the pacing of it, I guess, and that just, to me, ruined the whole movie, because it became really fast-paced, and I was like, okay, we're gonna get into this. This is gonna get interesting. We're in the investigation now, and then nothing. It's like nothing happens, and then before you know it, it's over. It's over. They get sentenced, and it's over. And I had no idea it was gonna end like this. They got sentenced, and I was like, okay, they're gonna appeal now, right? And we're gonna go into another couple of years where they're gonna appeal. And no, there was the credits. I wasn't expecting it to end so abruptly. I wasn't checking the time or anything. I had no idea how long we had left. And it seems that this movie didn't want to focus on one thing, and it didn't know what it was, because it never focused on the victims or their families, and it never focused on the suspects or their families. It never focused on the investigation. It never focused on the investigator, the private investigator that's helping them. It never focused on the law firm or anything like that. And they had big names in this movie. I saw Neil Patrick Harris in it, and Reese Witherspoon and Colin Firth and a bunch of other people. I think the Han was in it, which was so bizarre. But he was fine, and it never focused on one thing. So at the end of the day, you're seeing a bunch of I guess parts of the whole story, but then at the end you don't see anything because they never go into anything. Um, and it seems like they didn't exactly focus on the hard facts. They mostly focused on sort of things that other people say, and the relationship of the mother that isn't sure that these boys killed her kid, and I didn't like it that much. I know it's based on a book called Devil's Knot. I haven't read it. I don't know if it's accurate. I don't know if the book is more factual. The only movies I've seen about the West Memphis 3 are the Paradise Lost trilogy, which is incredible, and I highly recommend it. And the new documentary that came out when they came out, it was I think it was called West Memphis 3. I think so. I'll find the movies and I'll put a link in the description, and you can check them out if you like this sort of story. I do. I like stories about serial killers and mysteries and things like that. So I was interested when I found out about it, and I just have to say that if you are going to watch the Paradise Lost trilogy, don't watch it all together, because I cried my eyes out on the first one, and I don't cry easily, and I don't get shocked easily, but I was overcome with this heavy feeling of this could have all been avoided if the police had just done their job. And I just got overcome by an overwhelming sensation of sadness and injustice, and I just cried my eyes out. I got a huge headache after the first one, so I needed to take a break, and then I watched the second one and same thing happened, and I watched the third one, same thing happened. So those are tough movies to watch just because they are documentaries and they really go into it. They go into the investigation. You see pictures of the bodies, you see pictures of the little boys, you see pictures of the convicted young boys, and you get interviews with them, with the families of the victims and of the accused, and you get interviews with the lawyers and the prosecutors, and I think the judge is in there somewhere. So it's a really in-depth look, and this movie Devil's Knot was not an in-depth look at all. You can hardly call it a look. So if you know the story already, like I did, I guess it's not that bad, because you can fill in the gaps by yourself. My mom didn't like it, because like I said, I constantly found myself telling her things, and she was like, why didn't they just put this in the movie? And I had to explain, like, I didn't have time to put it in the movie, and she's like, she didn't like it because of the way it ended, and it was basically, it's like an empty movie with the shell of an investigation and a story, and it was completely unnecessary because it doesn't tell you anything new, and that was her point, actually. I already told her the whole thing, and she was like, okay, so what are you hoping to get in this movie? And I was like, nothing, I'm not hoping for anything. I know that they're not going to tell me who the real killer is. I think they're currently still investigating the stepfather of one of the boys. With new DNA testing, they found out that he was at the scene. So I told her all this, and she's like, so are you hoping that they're gonna, tell you who the killer is? I'm like, no, I'm not hoping for anything. So that's why she didn't like it so much, because there was no point to it. They didn't give you any new information. In fact, they omitted like 80% of the information. So if you know the story, you can fill in the gaps. If you don't know the story and you want to, I don't know if this is a good place to start, because you're gonna get like the very basic facts. If you want more details, go with the Paradise Lost trilogy. And if you're in the middle, if you just don't really care and you just want to watch a movie, then that's fine, I guess. But even as a movie, just ignoring the true story of it and ignoring everything else. Just as a movie, I didn't like it that much either. Like I said, the pacing was off, and the acting was not that good. I mean, Reese Witherspoon was good. I liked her. With Colin Firth, I don't like him. He always plays the same character to me. And Dane DeHaan was good in his like 3 minutes, and everybody else wasn't. The boys that they got, especially Damien, the guy that played Damien, I just feel like they got a kid with long hair, and that sort of looks like him, and they made him look moody, and that's not how it is at all. And he wasn't really good. It was kind of awkward to watch him on screen, but they got the physicalities down. Everybody looked like the real people, especially what's his name, Terry Hobbs, the tall guy with the bald head. He was perfect. I guess they looked like the real people. So yeah, I didn't like this movie that much. It was pointless to me. I don't think that they were trying to cash in on the story just because it's coming out 4 years later after they got released. So it's a bit late, isn't it? It's a bit late to hop on the train right now. So I like to think that's not why they did it. Because what would they gain from this? Are they hoping to cash in on this story? I think it's a bit late for that. I think everybody that made a documentary, because the story should be a documentary always, they made it years ago. Paradise Lost was an ongoing process, and that's why I like it so much, because it's not just one movie or 3 movies just focusing on it. It's 3 continuing movies where they investigate over the years, and they film over the years, and they film the whole process, and you get to see the investigation and how they got sentenced, and their experience in prison, which is, I guess, the saddest thing ever. The fact that they're isolated, and you know, it gives you just a deep sense of sadness and injustice, like I said, and it's this heavy feeling of, this really happened. I'm not just watching a movie that's sad. This actually happened, and it could have been avoided so easily. So I guess that's all I have to say. Devil's Knot wasn't bad, wasn't that great as a movie, and then considering the story, it was even worse just because of everything they omitted. And I understand why, like I said, but just don't do it. It comes down to it being pointless and unnecessary. Just don't do it. If you don't have the time, if you don't have the money, if you don't have the passion, just don't do it. This movie's not gonna be a box office hit, so I have no idea why they just pushed for it. Maybe it was a passion project for someone. Maybe they really wanted to adapt the book. Like I said, I haven't read it. I don't know if it's accurate at all. So yeah, Devil's Knot. Like I said, I'm gonna put links in the description for Paradise Lost and West Memphis 3. That's hard to say, actually. West Memphis 3. So I'm gonna put links in the description, and if anybody's interested in the story, you can watch it. It's really good, really, really good. So, Devil's Knot was... If you like those actors, I guess you can go for it. Yeah. Reese Witherspoon was way better in Mud, by the way. So, yeah. Bye.